G'day guys, Brock Layden here again with another video, and today what we're going to talk about is a simple, easy to use, easy to implement technique for how you can better communicate with leaders in your team, whether it's your like managers directly above you or your managers or whoever high up the hierarchy. It's a very useful, applicable thing at all levels. So, and before I get into it, I've got to give credit where credit is due. I actually learnt this from a consultant in my team. Shout out to Will White for teaching me this one. And really, what this boils down to is keeping in mind the context that you're operating in as a graduate or a consultant versus the context that your leaders are operating in. And what do I mean by that? Well, generally, when you are a graduate or a consultant, you are working on fewer things, but you're doing them to a deeper level. You're going deeper on them. You're spending more time on them. Now, the exception to that might be, at the beginning, where perhaps before you've kind of cemented yourself on an engagement, you might be doing a lot of random ad hoc things, right? But then kind of once you solidify yourself, you'll find you're working on fewer things, but spending more time on them. Your leaders, by contrast, and again, there's always exceptions to this, but in general, your leaders will be working on more things and putting fewer time in each of them. They'll be working on more things, but shallower, whereas you'll be going much deeper on them. So you might have two projects that you're splitting your time across, as an example, but the leaders above you might have two projects as well as multiple proposals they're trying to do, as well as internal leadership stuff that they need to do. And even within those two projects that they're on, they might be managing multiple streams potentially, right? So you could split it down even further. So the way that I think about it is with those arrows you can see on screen there, when you're a graduate or a consultant, you're generally working like vertically, you're going deep on fewer things. And when you're a leader, you're working more horizontally. You have more touch points, but you're spending less time on each of them because you're managing as opposed to doing the grunt work itself. Now, why does it matter for communication? It matters for communication because one thing that you can easily do when you're let's say you're a consultant, you're a grad, you're going to have questions, right? That's part of it. You're going to have things you're going to need to check with your manager. Maybe it's something that you don't know how to solve and you're going to go to them for help. What's challenging for the leader is when the graduate or consultant dives like straight into the detail. It's like, imagine, like I say, when you're a graduate, you're working deep on things. And sometimes, not even sometimes, most of the time, when you are communicating with a leader and you need their help, you almost need to walk them down the staircase to get them down to this level of detail where you have the problem that you need to operate at, right? And why is that? Because let's say you're a grad working on project A and you're trying to solve something. If you just dive straight into the detail of like the very specific niche question that you have that you're trying to get an answer from for your leader is most likely first of all going, all right, whoa. What project is this? Okay, it's that project. Which stream is this for? Which deliverable does this relate to? Like, what process is this? And they're trying to work all of that out in their head. Meanwhile, you're trying to, ask this very specific niche question. A more effective way of doing it is being like, hey, boss, got a question for you, yada, yada. You're on the phone with them. All right, so for this project, I've been working on this particular ticket, this deliverable, whatever it is. I'm trying to complete this. As part of that, I've done X, Y, Z already. Now I'm trying to do this bit, but the problem I'm having with this bit is I can't do X, right? Now when you're a leader, you're listening and you're going, okay, I understand where this all fits in. But if you just jump straight in and go, hey, I can't figure out how to do, A, how do I do A? The leader's like, well, hang on, what is A? Why are they even trying to do A? What does this fall part of? What stream is this? What deliverable does this relate to? And it's hard to answer, right? Because you're trying to figure out that context. And I have lived this myself, right? Where I'll get a question and I have to say, like, all right, slow down. Can you like step me through kind of what we're even talking about here? And then once you get the context from them, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no worries. It's this. But I hadn't thought about it in terms of this framework that you see on screen now. And again, shout out to Will. He was the one who he drew a diagram very similar to this. And I was like, that makes so much sense. So the key takeaway here, and again, this is something that you can start doing instantly, is when you're going and asking questions of your leads, your managers, whoever it might be sure to kind of walk them down the staircase of the level of detail that you're going to, right? Unless you know that they're right there in the weeds with you, you don't need to do that. I would say the norm or the rule should be walk them down the staircase. Yeah, there can be exceptions to the rule and that sort of thing, but generally speaking, your managers are going to find it helpful if you can provide the context and start at the top, work your way down and work on this, doing this project, working on this ticket, this deliverable. I've done X, Y, Z already. Now I'm trying to do A. I can't figure out how to do it. Can you help me? It's going to be good for you because one, your manager's going to like that, right? It's a very clear style of communication. They're going to like that. Pro tip, you probably want your manager to like you. And you're just going to be able to get answers to, the things that you need answers to quicker. You're going to be able to get things done quicker. You'll be more efficient. You'll have more time, yada, yada, yada. I think it's fairly self-explanatory. So keep that in mind this week and, weeks going forward. A simple technique that you can use to be a more effective communicator. Cheers.